Welcome, welcome, welcome to Social Work Sunday Tea. I am Shakia Houston. It is February 27, 2021, the last day of Black History Month. It's a great day. It's a great day to be alive and well. Just real quick before we get started and all that good stuff, I want to promote my tea, Social Work Sunday Tea. You have two teas in one jar. It's only $20. And yeah, y'all get in and get into them with this tea. It's all herbs, all natural, and also Social Work Sunday Tea, our mugs. We got that live, so I just want to, put that out there and make sure you like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. So yeah, so we have a special guest here. If you would like to introduce yourself, and it'd be greatly appreciated. And yeah, let's rock out.
All right. Hello, everyone. I am Shanika Johnson. My background, I'm a licensed therapist, and I'm actually in Charlotte, North Carolina, as well as we have another location in Atlanta, Georgia. So I am a licensed therapist. I currently own a group practice. So we do offer services for both states of North Carolina and Georgia. And I'm super excited to be here today and diving in on what our topic is about. And I'm hoping that so many of you get to gain a lot of information between Shakia and I, and us talking about our personal experiences, as well as dropping gems for those who feel like that's the area that they would like to improve or gain a little bit more tools about. So let's definitely get into it, and happy Sunday, everyone.
Cool. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, I'm
I
excited.
really appreciate it. Yeah, it's let's rock out. So the topic for today is givers and takers. I'm trying to find a little banner where it says that. But yeah, where it's about givers and takers. So I have to ask you, in your own definition, what is a giver?
So to me, a person that definitely tends to, I'm going to say we are classified of having a big heart. You know, that big heart that we feel the need to always be available, accessible, or we sort of go over and above and beyond to extend ourselves to other people. So I would kind of classify, with that, just feeling the need or feeling this level of obligation to be there for others.
Absolutely. So what would you say? Okay, so we're gonna dive into givers first because we got both. We're gonna dive into both.
All right.
As far as givers, give us some examples of a giver.
You're accessible. That means that anybody could call you anytime, day and night. You're always by your phone. You're always there to help them during their crises or their moments where they need somebody to be there. That's definitely being a giver. Also a person who tends to physically give things. Some people do it in terms of gaining something in return, but some people are just natural givers, doing nice things for people, going out of their way, making sure others are pretty much okay before they think about themselves.
Absolutely. In the let's see, Psychology Today, givers are others focused, are focused and tend to provide support to others with no strings attached. They ask themselves, how can I add value to this person? What can I contribute? So you have these type of givers. What are some of your experience as far as, are you a giver or are you a taker?
So y'all, I literally came from a place of being a people pleaser.
Yeah,
I have transitioned in terms of learning a lot more boundaries, but I was a diehard giver, like would give my last to any and everyone. And so I had to learn that, you know what, I was being depleted. So while my experience with being a giver, I had some positive ones, but a lot more negative ones because I would literally overextend myself and I would be pouring from an empty cup.
Yeah, that's definitely how I'm a giver as well. I think more so like you said, from an empty cup, like giving, where I'm just like, I don't have no more to give in a relationship. I've done that multiple times. I'm just like, Lord, I don't know what else I'm gonna do. So yeah, like I had this thing. Yeah, like okay, I'm giving, and then this person just taking, and it's like, okay, so I'm not saying I don't want anything in return, but at the same time, like I want to be filled up as well.
Right.
And I think that givers, we come to our, to our senses because we're so engulfed in, okay, let's please them. Let's make sure they good. I'm gonna be okay. All right. I'm gonna be all right. And I had to like stop myself sometimes like, Shakia, no. That I need to say no. Yeah. I need to say no. And I'm still working on saying no and creating these boundaries. So yeah, like people take advantage of they take advantage of givers. And what ways have you seen or you experienced you being taken advantage of?
I had a few friends that I had to be able to implement boundaries with, in a way of, and no, I take that back, not just friends, but actually family.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're more prone and more obligated to family more than anything. So I did realize at one point I was that person or the go-to person that if anything happens, I mean, from I don't have enough money for this to, well, I need you to do XYZ for me. I created that tone within my friendship and certain family relationships of I was going to be there. I was the person that was going to come in, save the day. I was the rescuer. And that put me in a position where I think at some point, some of us givers like to feel needed. I know sometimes it's doesn't it feel like it's like, we get some sort of gratification to be able to help others, especially if we're in a good position to do so. But also it's a gift and a curse sometimes.
Yeah. I said to myself one time, like it was like a couple of months ago, like I hate having a big heart. I said that to myself. I'm like, man, I hate having a big heart because people are just run and trample. But here it is with the boundaries. But I was honest with myself and said, I do not like this heart of mine. I love it, but I hate it. Like you said, it's a love-hate, type of thing because it's like you're cautious and you're kind of like move differently because you're afraid of getting, hurt or taken advantage of and mishandled. And I think that's a lot, as far as what being a giver is like, oh, you just like, oh, come on, and I'm just like, some people is not deserving of that, they and it crazy. Do you feel crazy part about it? Do you feel people sense your givers?
Oh yes. Oh yes. They do. And not intentionally, not to say that they take advantage or they try to, play on the weak, so to speak. But I do feel like sometimes there is this sense of, oh, this person is genuine. And that genuineness can definitely make a person feel comfortable enough to ask for things, comfortable enough to have expectations of you doing things for them.
Yeah. And I think that, as a giver, you like, oh, okay, I'll do it.
Right. Without a doubt.
Then here they come again. And sometimes you just, your mind, it just really don't click. It doesn't click in and say, oh, they taking advantage of me or they're doing this. You have selfless givers, like we just like selfless. Okay, let me just, the bleeding heart, the purple heart. Let me give it of myself. And it's not a bad thing to be a giver. It's not a bad thing. So everybody, out there, just know it's okay. I think it more so to setting boundaries.
Thank you for using that term.
Yes.
That is the most important. Be a giver with boundaries.
Yes. What does that look like? What does that look like?
Even being able to not be as accessible. Really being mindful of the tone that we set with people. And there's one thing that I've realized that we tend to get mad at ourselves later on down the road. And, you know, we're sitting there and we're like, how does this person have the audacity to ask me for this? How does this person have the audacity, you know, to expect that I'm going to do things for them? But at some point in time, there was a tone set for that when you didn't have boundaries, which made it so easy and comfortable for a person to expect that from you. So I would really highly suggest the word no. And I know people steer away from that because they're like, the level of guilt is going to make me look bad. And that's not necessarily the case. But what it is that you're teaching people that you're not going to always be available. And there's so many different ways to say no. I tell people all the time, you don't have to just say no. Like, you can decline things. You can say, you know what, you know, I won't be available for this. It's just so many different ways. So I would highly say suggesting no. I will also put in there just not being as accessible. You do not have to pick up every call. You do not have to respond to every text message right then and there. Letting people know that you have a life too, or that you have other priorities, I would suggest as well.
Yeah. A lot of people, everybody, let us know. Are you a giver? Do you feel like you're a giver or you're a taker? Dr. Tori, she said that I'm a giver. Someone else said I'm a giver. Someone say I'm also a taker when I was in my selfish mode.
Okay.
See that? Okay, that's good. Yeah. That's good feedback. That's awesome. So yeah, like because sometimes givers, you know, we have that guilt. We feel guilty. Explain that? What is that feeling like? Okay, a guilt, but it's like, what is it?
What I find is that people just have this sense of obligation, especially if it's someone they care about.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a family member or a very close friend, it's like this level of obligation that I have to do it, when in reality you have a choice. But the guilt that comes along with it, as far as how am I going to be looked or viewed if I say no?
Yeah.
Because it isn't, if you think about it, a person says yes so much that one time they say no,
they gonna die.
That person, right. It's like, I cannot believe you said no to me. This, you know, like our friendship is over, so to speak. They get so fearful of things ending. If I say no, then, you know, are we not going to be friends? Are we not going to be as close? Or are you going to view me as not being there for you?
Yeah.
But in all actuality, you know, I feel like to deal with that guilt, you have to ask yourself, am I ready to reset the tone? Because if you're going to reset the tone, that means you have to teach that person how to treat you and what to expect from you by what you're going to allow and not allow.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's good. Yeah. I think more so be direct and be clear. Absolutely. I got off the seminar yesterday. They were talking about, you know, like toxic relationships, and it was like, you have to be clear. You have to be clear and let it be known, like, where you're coming from. And people get offended because they can't mishandle or misuse you anymore. You know, so it's kind of like, hey, that's on you. I'm not going to allow this. I'm not going to allow you to mishandle me, because I'm precious, you know, and somebody that actually really, really can benefit from a giver, you're going to destroy a giver because, you know, we can like, okay, we can turn cold too, you know, and sometimes our mind psychologically, we switch. Like, I ain't gonna let nobody, you know, I'm not gonna let them do that to me no more. So it's like, okay, you shut down. And so now you have this thing where, you know, you don't want to be a giver no more. You want to be a taker.
Right. It switches over. It does.
Yeah, absolutely. So what leads to now, we're gonna talk. Do we get pretty much clear? Let us know if we got givers all the way. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, all the good stuff. Make sure you share it. Okay, so we're gonna. You think we kind of like get the?
We covered it. I think we
covered that part. Yeah, of givers. Now we about to talk about these takers.
Woo, that's a different level, different breed.
What is your what's your definition of a taker?
A person that is just so used to receiving. Takers, I don't even think they even realize sometimes just how much they have been accustomed to taking. So to me, I feel like they are always seeking or knowing that a person is available. Like, I know that I can pick up the phone and call this person, or I know that I can ask this person for this. And I just think that they're just not very aware. Sometimes they are. Now, let's not be too naive to say that they're not, because they do become accustomed to doing it. But majority of the time, they just have gained this level of comfortability with people that they just know instantly this person's going to do this for me or be this for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone had a question real quick. My question is that I am always a giver. Should I step back from being a giver? Like I helping out or make good sacrifices for someone, but I guess they do not appreciate it all. So what advice would you give?
Well, if it's that particular person, I do think that it's safe to say, okay, hey, you know what? Let me take a step back. Let me put a boundary in place or limit their exposure to you. Yeah. That is so okay to limit your accessibility when it comes to people, you know. But I would say this also too, overall, do not stop being who you are. If authentically you are a giver, if you're a genuine person with a big heart, you do not have to change who you are, but you have to change how people have access to you.
Yeah. So don't be picking up the phone. You know what I'm saying? If the vibe not right, I'd be like, oh, okay, then. Well, let me go on about my way. Now I know, but back then, I was just like, oh, okay, well, I just want everybody to be happy.
Levels to it. You have to learn as you go.
I just want everybody to be happy. So that's where, takers. I know that was a good question. Thank you, Tanika. Good question. So we talk about takers. They're self-focused, putting their own interests ahead of other people's needs.
Yes.
They try to gain as much as possible from their interaction while contributing as little as they can in return.
Ooh, reciprocation is very limited with takers. Very limited.
Man, it's crazy. Anybody ever experienced a taker? Like have you experienced a taker?
Me personally, yes, I have. And the thing is, I had to bring it to their attention because sometimes they really do not realize how much they are expecting or requiring from you without reciprocating. So yeah, I had to address it. I had to let it pretty much be known that I felt, hey, this is one-sided. And they received the conversation fairly well, which was a good thing, but that's not always the case with some people. Some people are in denial, but
I don't believe you, Yeah.
Yes. But what about you though? Have you?
Oh, yeah. So I don't care. Like, I'm healed from that, so I'm okay. I can talk about it. So my ex-fiance, he was a taker.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong. He's not a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a taker. Like that just, it has sucked the life out of you. And I was so in love, like, oh, I love you. But come to find out, like, you just take. The more I give, the more you take, and I'm still empty on the inside. And I was just like, look, now I came to the light, the marvelous light. I'm just like, okay, I'm not gonna be able to do this.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna be able to do this, and you have to like make it be known. Like, if just red flags came, I was just ignoring it. I was like, he just, no, sis, get yourself together. No, that's what that is.
Yeah.
So it's like, I experienced that. Like, just take, and I'm empty, and I'm still feeling like, well, what else? What else can I do? And nothing was never good enough, but that's something totally different. But yeah, so
got it.
But I can't, I'm good now. Like, when I have like signs,
mm-hmm.
No, I ain't gonna be able to do that. No. Okay. So what are some signs that they're takers?
Ooh.
Let's help the people out. We gotta.
Yes. I would say one of the biggest is they do not naturally know how to reciprocate. Like, it's something that they don't even think about. It's not necessarily a priority for them. Another one that I would say too is just really looking at a person from a standpoint of, okay, is this person very dependable? Who they are as an individual? Are they always in a position where they need something from you?
Yeah.
Which is a huge red flag when it comes to takers, because they tend to be out there to gain what they can gain. And it's not always in such, the thing is, I don't want to paint a picture as if it's just always in this advantage type of way, but it is in a way of they have these unrealistic expectations of people sometimes, you know, and not being able to do that in return. So I would say that's a huge red flag.
Yeah. They also have, sorry about my dog. they have this they act entitled to whatever they're taking from you.
Absolutely.
I got my little notes. I was like, y'all let me know in the comments. Yeah, let me know in the comments what are takers. What are some of the signs of takers? So they treat you as an extension of themselves.
They do.
When they hurt or disappoint you, they don't experience guilt, shame, or remorse. Yeah, Psychology Today kind of like broke it down. That's where I'm getting my facts from.
They will do that. They will break it all the way down.
Yeah. Also, they won't apologize to you, but will expect you to apologize to them.
Absolutely.
I almost went up. I almost threw my iPad. I said, now.
They sometimes do not see themselves. They do not see themselves.
Yeah. Someone said, when they don't offer anything but accept everything.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that's a really, really, really good one. Yeah, y'all list down in the comments. Let us know what are some characteristics or traits of a taker. They're impatient and hate to wait.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Yeah, they act as if they're always right.
Correct.
They act as in if they're never wrong.
Definitely that. Taking no accountability would be a huge one.
Yes. No accountability for their actions.
Yeah.
When they know they dead wrong, dead wrong, and it's kind of like, oh, okay, well, you'll get over it because you're a giver. You're gonna take my mess anyway. So it's like, so for people that have been encounter takers, what are some tips that we can help them with as far as kind of like, hold on, get out my space.
Oh yeah. So in terms of resetting the tone, when we talked about the boundary piece,
yes.
But also I think sometimes we forget that we teach people how to treat us.
Yes.
Like, to even assume that anybody that comes along is just going to automatically know what to do, what to say, or how to approach us, or what to ask for, what not to ask for.
Yeah.
We have to set that tone in teaching them what it is of how we would like to be treated.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like, those things.
Let me say this. Be unapologetic about it. And not feel like you have to be apologetic for what it is that you expect or your level of expectation when it comes to family, when it comes to friends, when it comes to a significant other. Like, all of those things play a big role.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, even with family, I think that, you have this, oh, but they family. Like when people be saying that, I'd be like,
right.
Okay, I understand they family, but at the same time, especially if you like really close, and then it's kind of like, y'all, you act the fool. It's like, okay, but then you call them out on it, then everybody want to, oh, but y'all family. I understand that, but at the same time, y'all gonna get this work. Y'all gonna know.
Yeah,
what it is,
everyone gets the boundary. Everybody, no one's exempt from that.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that people need to understand that it's levels. It's like different levels. Like some stuff you just I think the older I get, the more of my tolerance level is like getting to 0.
Ooh, yes.
Especially when people like try to play these games and stuff like that. It's just like, come on now, like it can be exhausting. Givers, we can, it's very much so exhausting. You know, you trying to get, yeah. And takers, they got all the energy in the world because they're full.
Of course.
They're on full tank of gas.
They're probably overflowing.
Oh, you go to Chicago to Nashville, you're full.
Right.
So it's just like, you know, just experiencing that, you know, takers and, you know, being a giver, you know. Someone talked about the selfish zone, because you know what, some people can be givers and takers.
They can.
Depending on the situation. What is like a good example of a giver and taker? Kind of like, I guess.
Yeah. I would say, honestly, a person who is so used to giving, but feeling as if the person owes them now. So where it's sort of like they gave, to where they no longer had anything to give, but when it came a point in time where that person actually needed something, it was I have this expectation that you need to do this and that for me. You owe me. So in a sense of where it becomes a lot more aggressive, because now it's put with a level of emotion behind it. Because now I feel like I'm giving you so much.
Yeah.
And now it's your turn to reciprocate, and you don't come through, then then it becomes a problem. So that is just one that I would say is a good example.
Oh, that is good. That is good, because you know what, you kind of like, oh well, I don't, you know, I want to be in a seat where I can just take. You know, like you said, we have that sense of entitlement. Like, yeah, go ahead, give it to me. You know, whatever I ask for, just give it to me. You know, and it's kind of like you're in a hard spot or a hard space, because you do have those selfish moments. I'm not gonna lie, I get selfish. I'm like, hey, I want what I want, period. You know, but at the same time, you know, on the flip side, it's like, okay, what if that was me? Am I asking of someone, you know, am I being too hard? And this is where you know, I come into play with the self-reflections. Like, what am I doing to someone else? You know, I don't want to be done to me. So why would I do it to you? Someone asked, when the taker be put in the category of a manipulator?
That's a good one to a certain extent, because you have, I would say, only if that person is fully aware of what they're doing, because you do have some takers that are not even aware that they're not necessarily doing their part or reciprocating.
That's good. That was a good one.
That's actually a good question. That's a good one. That, because it is a thin line. Like, it really truly is, that for you to determine, okay, is this person even aware of what they're doing? So I just highly suggest, when it comes to it, to address it, bring it up, let that person know, hey, this is how I'm feeling. It's very one-sided. And if after then you don't see any changed behavior, then you know who you're dealing with.
Yeah. But what if a giver doesn't have enough courage to address? You know, because some people just sweep things under, like, oh, okay. What if they know what it is, but they don't have the courage to do so? So what would you say or give advice to them, you know, for a person that doesn't have that courage to speak up and be clear?
That's tricky, because you're essentially making a choice between your peace of mind. Because you don't have the courage. One thing I would say is realizing that what is going to be most important for me, like putting yourself first, making yourself a priority. And in that perspective, being able to say, you know what, I see that even with me being a giver to this particular person, even though I may even be a little hesitant to even initiate the conversation, more so in a way of, okay, what is going to be best for me? When you look at things out of the best interest for yourself, that gives you a level of motivation and encouragement to say, you know what? Yeah, I think it's okay for me to go ahead and just scale back, limit my accessibility or availability with this person, and then determine what your next steps will be. Because sometimes you don't have to verbally say anything. If you feel like, you know what, I just noticed it, this is how I feel, then you take the time to reflect on that, and then you make the necessary steps that you need to moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because my auntie late. Hey, y'all. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. So those are good, you know, those are good things as far as trying to be able to, get to the next level. Like not saying not saying anything is a response in a way, like, oh, you on that? You like we call ghosts. Oh, y'all go okay, you gonna ghost me. That's saying nothing, and I think
Mhm.
that a lot of people they don't want to address those things because they don't want to be uncomfortable. They don't want, the image. Oh, your image, you made me look at as though I'm a bad person because I said something to you that you have done to me. So, a lot of people they go through those things. What we really need, we need matchers, people that's gonna match
Ooh.
the same, give me that same energy.
Right.
So everybody need matchers. The equal balance, giving and taking.
Exactly.
And sometimes we all fall in that category, but we definitely need that balance as far as somebody giving, taking, you giving, I'm taking, things like that. And yeah, and I think that creates a healthy relationship, regardless if it's an intimate relationship or friendship,
Right.
as far as with coworkers, things like that, you have that give and take. Hey, I got your bag, you got mine. All right. So I think that's more so. What are your thoughts on matchers? Like as far as that goes?
In terms of them just knowing, I guess who they would be a good mesh for, in other words.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking out for certain qualities in people.
Yeah.
I always tell people, I know sometimes as women, we're always seeking those qualities in a mate. Like we feel like, oh, this person needs to have this person needs to have that. But those same qualities, sometimes that you look for, the general things, need to be looked at in a friendship as well as certain family relationships. So I would say, if you feel like this person holds or possesses the qualities that you feel like you connect with, or the ones that are most important for you, if you feel like they can reciprocate that, then I think that you have a good match.
Yeah, absolutely. So make sure everybody, y'all get that balance in,
Absolutely.
If you're a giver, keep on giving. Don't change who you are.
Right.
If you're a taker, let's do some evaluations, self-reflecting.
Yes.
Because it's not all about you. It's not about, it's about everybody, but but at the same time, would it be beneficial for both parties, both, people? I think that it's just, imperative to people to know, about the givers and takers. Someone said sometimes takers feel a sense of no obligation if you're financially successful, or no obligation to reciprocate. Okay. Ooh, what you think about that?
Oh, I think I could definitely see that though. I could see them just not really having a sense of obligation when it comes to certain things with takers. And like I was saying earlier, I think too, also, it's good to know some people you don't know where they come from. So in the sense of, you have some people that present as takers but used to be givers.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does take a level of vulnerability and transparency. And it kind of goes back to having that conversation with that person to pretty much say, hey, I see you. And I see that this is becoming one-sided, or I feel as if, I'm a person that's always extending myself a little bit more than you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Because everybody have a story. Like you said, one point, they was all givers, hands down, like nothing, no chaser. And then life happens, things happen. And then here it is. Oh, let me flip it around, yeah. And then now they're taker. Like, hey, I hold no prisoner. Like, it is what it is. Take it or leave it. And some people are content with being takers.
They are. They are. Because I mean, essentially, if you think about it, they're not losing anything. They're gaining. Yeah. So in that perspective of things, they're living a pretty okay life. They're like, I'm fine. I'm good. I don't really, I'm not losing anything. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Any questions? Y'all?
Yes, any questions, please ask. Please.
Yeah. We're here for you. Make sure you share. Yeah. Yeah. It's a healthy discussion because it needs to be talked about, because a lot of people, they don't really know what to do, like, and they really don't know how to identify it, so I'm glad that we were in this space and this time to be able to express, hey, whoever this is, hey, how y'all doing? Yeah, but no, I really, really appreciate this this conversation because it's definitely needed. Definitely
Absolutely.
needed.
Absolutely.
Oh, somebody put that on there. Oh, it's the same thing, same question. But yeah, yeah, I think we covered
We
everything.
really dived into it today, for sure, because
Yeah.
I see it in so many of,
So
even from my personal experiences, but a
yeah,
lot of my clients are
yeah.
still trying to decipher between, where they're at and that on that scale of things rather, and then what to do about it. So.
Do you find that it's a lot of your clients, it's a lot that they're kind of trying to figure it out, like as far as givers, takers, boundaries, setting
Yes.
those boundaries, like
Yes, it is. I mean, it's just one of those things where I feel like we've all come from a place of obligation and guilt to
yeah.
a person to some degree.
Mhm.
And we are still trying to navigate and try to figure out, okay, what's the best way to do this? And we always feel like we want to do it the most smoothest way.
Yeah.
And the reality is there's not a one standard smooth way, to let a person know, like, hey, this is how I feel
Yeah.
about it, or this is one sided, or I feel like I've given so much of myself, or
Yeah.
no, I need to put a boundary here. So I just see them in this space of their experiences are still teaching them. So
Yeah.
many people are still learning, and that's
Yeah.
okay. I think sometimes we look back and we're like, I can't believe I did this in that situation for so long. I can't believe I did this,
Yeah. Yeah.
But the reality is we were still learning. We were still trying to figure it out. We were
Yeah.
still trying to determine, okay, this is a teachable moment for me.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah. Someone asks, how do you address a taker's actions?
You would address it. I highly just recommend from a I statement standpoint, basically saying, I feel this way when you do XYZ. And it could be anything. I guess I'll just throw out like an example.
Yeah.
I feel, let's just say my feelings are hurt, or, I feel like when you do not show up for this particular event, my feelings were hurt. Just pretty much putting yourself and letting them know how it made you feel. Because sometimes they're not aware of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes, yeah, you're right. You just address it head on.
Bring it to
Um,
the light.
I didn't like that, or when you, oh yeah, absolutely. And you can't feel bad on how they feel. Like if they say, "Oh, you over exaggerate," no, those are my feelings,
And
and
they're
exactly, and I have permission. Yeah, and I have permission to feel this way. It's okay. Like I can feel this way.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's perfectly fine. So just be direct and be straightforward. So that was a good question as well.
Great question.
Yeah.
I'm not the questions anymore because I definitely, that's the way. That's the way.
Yeah, like no, I really, really like this is good. This is a good space. Because a lot of people they trying to figure it out. Like it's always teachable moments, like you said, education moments where you kind of like trying to figure everything out. Okay,
Right.
sometimes they are aware of what they're doing. Family.
Oh, yes. Okay. And family tend to be the ones that are the closest to you and the ones that you tend to be the most vulnerable with. So with that being said, you have to be very solid about the boundaries that you put in place for them, because at some point with them being family, you did a lot of things out of obligation. So with that being said, to even reset that tone to get them to understand that you're not going to be that go-to person in the family is going to take a lot of declining, a lot of I can't do this, I can't do that, and a lot of not being available. And you have to be okay with that.
Yeah. 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 And like as far as with the family and being obligated, that's yeah. Like you said earlier, oh, we family, but that's your family. I'm like, man, look.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, true. Okay. She said true. Obligation being the oldest. Yeah.
Oh, now that is definitely now that, yes, just having that obligation of having to be the person who's next in line. Like you're the oldest, so they place that expectation on you without any hesitation. It's sort of kind of like the cycle. Like, okay, you're the one that's next up, and we expect for you to do X, Y, Z. So in that particular case, it's definitely imperative that you put some boundaries in place.
Someone said that's your family, but that's your health. Yeah.
That part. Yes, for sure.
Miss Ford, yes.
Your peace of mind.
Yeah.
Your peace of mind.
Yeah. And that's more important than anything. Self-preservation is everything.
Yeah.
And I think, we need to, like, I'm a drill that too. You have to take care of yourself before you can try to take care of somebody else.
That is very true. We always say that, though. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And that is so essential. And I hope that people are grasping the meaning of that in any situation.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Friendship, family, relationship, any situation that applies to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah. Thank you so much
today. Thank you for having me.
No problem. It's an honor. It's a privilege. Everybody, I don't know Ms. Johnson from Adam, but we clicked really, really well. Like I asked her,
did.
How you doing? Let me, I'm asking everybody, like, hey, and God allow us to meet, virtually. And whenever I go to North Carolina or Atlanta, what I'm saying, I'm like,
you're always welcome. It's all love.
Thank you. I really, really appreciate it. And make sure tune in next week. We will be talking. It's going to be part 2 of Mama's Boys. Part 2. Yeah, I'm about to.
Make sure you get in on that one. That's
Please tune in. Make sure you like, subscribe, tell everybody about it. It's gonna be amazing, amazing, amazing. We have 3 therapists. They're coming back, and we're gonna drop them.
Definitely about to be. Oh, okay, good.
It's gonna be lit. Because a lot of people, the last discussion, they was going in. I said, Lord,
oh wow.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Imagine. I can only imagine.
Yeah, a lot of people, they're going through that. A lot of, their spouses, their mama's boy, their boyfriend, they mama's boy. They mama's boys. And we need to talk about that because it's like, so it's going to be amazing, 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 amazing. And thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I really, really appreciate it. Everybody tune in next week.
Please tune in next week.
Yes, indeed. Sure. And it's going to be amazing. So thank you for tuning in. And
have an amazing Sunday.
Yes. All right. See y'all next week. Love you guys.